What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video here on B Mills Wrestling. Ever since the World Heavyweight Championship was reintroduced back in 2023, we have seen a total of 6 champions and 8 title reigns. So I thought it would be a good idea for today's video to go through each of those 8 title reigns and tier rank them. Before we get into the video, if you guys are not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. And don't forget to leave a like down below. Alright guys, let's get into the video. The first person to ever hold the new version of the World Heavyweight Championship was Seth Rollins, the Visionary. We all know he won that title back in 2023 when it was introduced. He held that title for 316 days. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed this title reign. And I think a lot of people would agree with me. I don't think that's very much of a hot take. This was a great title reign with plenty of title defenses. Finn Balor, I thought that feud and the couple matches, especially the SummerSlam match, was very good. The match with Damian Priest, the whole, is Damian Priest going to cash in at SummerSlam with Finn Balor going in at Seth Rollins? I thought that was really good. Seth Rollins versus Jey Uso, Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn was good. Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura had a feud and a couple of decent matches. Drew McIntyre was in that feud. Obviously, we're going to get to him. But obviously, with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, their match at Crown Jewel that they had was very good. They had a match on Day 1 Raw, or Raw Day 1, I should say, which was not too bad. Seth Rollins, he was all over the place with this title reign. He was defending that title left and right. Comparing it to the current champion on SmackDown at that time, Roman Reigns, he was obviously not defending the title. I don't forget how many defenses he had in his entire 1,300-day title reign, but it was less than what Seth had in his 316-day title reign. That's not a knock on Roman. Obviously, Roman is phenomenal, but that just goes to show how much Seth Rollins put into this World Heavyweight Championship. You could tell he just wanted to be, really solidify that title, right? Really make it feel prestige. And it did lose its value a little bit after Seth Rollins lost the title, which we're going to get into. But yeah, it's really hard to give this one a bad grade. Seth Rollins, in my opinion, this was the best title reign. Out of all of them, the first one was the best one. Hopefully, we will see a better one. Obviously, Seth's the current champion, which we're also going to get into. But this was an incredible title reign. I am going to have to give this one an A+. I really did enjoy this title reign. Even the way it ended with Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, right? That was a great match, and that was a great feud as well. This title, it was always relevant. It always felt relevant, even when Seth Rollins was injured, right? This was a great title reign. I think A+, it just fits it so well. The second person to hold that World Heavyweight Championship was Drew McIntyre. We obviously know that Drew and Seth squared off at WrestleMania 40. That kicked off night 2. And like I just said, that was an incredible match between these two. It was a finisher fest. Very fun. And then Drew McIntyre, indeed, beat Seth Rollins in that match, which I thought was awesome. I think a lot of people wanted Drew McIntyre to win because Seth had such a good title reign. It just felt like it was right to pass the title on. It felt like Seth did his job. And I was so ready to see a Drew McIntyre title reign because he had been doing his best work of his entire career since he turned heel earlier that year. And, like I said, the match, phenomenal. And then just the ending was just the cherry on top. Drew McIntyre finally getting to win a world championship in front of fans in a live audience. That's what he said he always wanted to do, because obviously when he won the WWE title, it was back in the Thunderdome era when COVID was happening. So to see him finally have his moment at WrestleMania 40, that was super special. I was literally at WrestleMania 40, so watching that was awesome. But obviously we know that this title reign, unlike Seth's, who held the title for 316 days, this title reign was a total of 5 minutes and 46 seconds. Yeah, I had a feeling that it was obviously going to end, but with it being 5 minutes and 46 seconds, I really don't know what kind of grade I can give this, because obviously I feel like I have to give it an F, right? Because he didn't defend the title, he didn't hold the title for a day, which feels wrong, because if they actually did give him a title reign, it probably would be an A+. But just because he held it for 5 minutes and 46 seconds, I got to give this one an F. Now, let's move on to the third person to hold that World Heavyweight Championship, and that is Damian Priest. We obviously know Damian Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank contract at WrestleMania 40 on Drew McIntyre, ending Drew's reign, like I said, 5 minutes and 46 seconds. This was a pretty crazy moment. I don't think a lot of people saw it coming. I don't think a lot of people thought Damian Priest was going to cash in, just because he didn't really have anything to do with the champion Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre. There wasn't too much there. They weren't really teasing it. So this was kind of a shock factor of Money in the Bank cash in, which I thought was really cool, and a great moment for him too. Getting that like loud reaction when his music hit, and then when he won the championship. I thought that was really cool, and it obviously, gave him a really solid title reign, 118 days as champion. And this was like a really solid title reign. Like, I really did enjoy this. I'm not a Damian Priest guy. I don't really like him that much, but this was a very good title reign. And I think a lot of that did have to do with the fact that he was fed a lot of stars during this reign, and like the title was constantly showcased as well. Like, obviously, he started off his title reign by feuding with Jey Uso into a match at Backlash, and I thought that was like an okay feud. I don't think it was like groundbreaking. I don't think it was meant to be. That was just like a good way to kick off his first World Heavyweight Championship reign. We obviously got that memorable moment with Jey Uso in France at Backlash with his crazy entrance, which I thought was cool. Like I said, the match wasn't too bad. Damian obviously retained in that match. And then you get Damian versus Drew at Clash at the Castle. Clash at the Castle, Jesus, which was a really fun match as well. I felt like that was probably one of Damian Priest's better matches, was with Drew McIntyre. I really did enjoy that match. And then obviously you have CM Punk screwing Drew McIntyre out of the title, because the whole thing was Drew, trying to win back the title that he lost in 5 minutes, right? He earned that rematch, doing it in front of his home fans as well, like literally where he is from. Like, I thought that Drew McIntyre for sure was going to win back the title, but CM Punk showing up as the ref, costing him that match, like, that was crazy. And then obviously you go on, and then you get Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins made like his shocking return. We thought he was going to be out for months. He came back so fast after WrestleMania 40 when all of like the bones on his body were just like torn up. Like, I thought he was going to come back like the Royal Rumble. I'm so serious. But we obviously got that Seth versus Damian feud, which I thought was solid as well. Because like there was history there from Seth's first title reign, obviously, and then Seth obviously never got a proper rematch for his title that he lost at WrestleMania 40. So the match itself, it made sense. And then the match they were having was very good. And then you add Drew McIntyre winning Money in the Bank that same night earlier during Money in the Bank, and then cashing in his briefcase to make it a triple threat match, which has made it exciting as hell, because you're like, I don't know who's going to walk out as champion. Will it be Seth, Drew, Damian? Like, who's going to win the match? I was like confused. I didn't know who was going to come out with the win. And then what do we have? We have CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre again in that match, and Damian Priest ended up pinning Drew a second time and then retaining his title. Like, those 3 matches, like, they were incredible. Like, that was just a great part of his title reign. Like, 118 days, that's not like a long reign, but he had so many memorable like defenses. And then obviously, you get to SummerSlam and you have Damian versus Gunther for the world title, which in my opinion also was a very good match as well. I also thought it was kind of unpredictable. I did go with Gunther, but I thought that there was a good shot that Damian would retain his title because his reign was going pretty smoothly, obviously. But obviously, we know what ended up happening. It was Finn Balor turning on Damian Priest and allowing Gunther to win. But like I said, nonetheless, really good match. And just like a really good title reign. Like, it did exactly what it needed to be. I thought that this was like, obviously not what Seth Rollins' title reign was, but this was really good. Like, I really can't complain with this at all. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give this a B+. Like, I think this was a really interesting title reign. Like I said, the star power, Gunther, Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, like, they fed him the top guys, like, as they should. And Damian Priest, he made the most of it. He had a solid title reign. So props to him. He's getting a B+ for this one. Now we move on to the guy who beat Damian Priest at SummerSlam for that World Heavyweight Championship, and that was obviously Gunther. Gunther dethroned Damian Priest at SummerSlam. He obviously won King of the Ring that year as well. He was getting a huge push after WrestleMania when he lost the IC title. Obviously, he held that title for 666 days. It just kind of made sense that they were going to put the world title on him as he was really getting hot. But I got to say, this was a lame title reign. This was 258 days. It kicked off the right way. They did Randy Orton versus Gunther at Bash in Berlin, and that was awesome. Great match. One of Gunther's best match. I thought that just their styles meshed really well. Just a slow pace. Like, it was a really fun match, at least for me. And, I didn't really think Randy Orton had any chance of winning. I know he was hyping up winning his 15th world title, but, obviously, first defense in Gunther's reign, I did not see him losing. So there was that. But, like, just the match itself was awesome. I really enjoyed it. And then, from there on, I really thought, like, Gunther was going to have a great title reign. But that was just not the case. Like, his title reign, it was so bad. They ran back Damian Priest versus Gunther, which I thought was like, it was okay. I didn't really want it. I didn't think Damian Priest had any chance of winning back the title. They did Sami Zayn versus Gunther for the world title, which I also was kind of confused about because, who's going to think Sami Zayn's going to win back the world championship or win the world championship from Gunther after he dethroned him at WrestleMania? If they made him lose to Sami Zayn and lose a title to him 2 times in the same year, like that would have been so ridiculous. This title reign, it was all over the place. Like he fought Jey Uso literally like 2 or 3 times in this title reign, and obviously that feud that just didn't go anywhere. It wasn't great. Like fighting like guys like Tozawa, like on the build to WrestleMania 41. This title reign, it left a sour taste in my mouth. I really wanted more out of this, especially like I said after it kicked off with Randy Orton. I really thought we were gonna get something special, like guys like AJ Styles, like Penta, who just like debuted in WWE in January in 2025. I thought that would have been a good match to run. CM Punk, who we obviously just got, and we're gonna get into that, but like that would have been cool. Just so many matches I felt like they could have done with Gunther in that title reign to make it more special, more memorable, but it just wasn't that. And he obviously would end up losing the title at WrestleMania 41. But this title reign, man, it just did not do it for me. I don't want to give it an F. Like obviously he defended the title. He had good matches in his reign. But man, this just wasn't good. Like this was not good at all. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give it a C minus. Yeah, I think that's fair. Because like I said, he held it obviously for 258 days. The defenses he had, like the storylines sometimes weren't great, but the matches, you could always count on the matches with Gunther to be good. And then like I said, the Randy Orton, that feud I really loved. So I think a C minus is fair. Now let's move on to the guy who beat Gunther for that World Heavyweight Championship, and that is Jey Uso. Obviously, Jey Uso, he won the Royal Rumble. He would go on to beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 41, and obviously that would be his first World Championship in WWE. This was a feel-good moment, right? Like, this was a feel-good moment for him, for his family, for the fans. But I don't think WWE ever had, like, serious plans of him holding the title for a long period of time. We know this title reign was only 51 days. So, like I said, more of like a feel-good moment. But I gotta say, those 51 days, like, this was an exciting title reign. Like, it really was. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like they immediately went into stuff with, like, Seth Rollins and his new group, right? They teasing winning the Money in the Bank contract. And then we obviously saw Seth versus Jey in a one-on-one match. I think that was Jey's first title defense, and it ended up ending in a DQ, I believe, because of CM Punk. But they had like CM Punk kind of floating around in the world title picture, and a few other guys as well. With Gunther obviously also coming back for the title. Obviously, I wasn't excited to see them run back that match, but they had, I feel like, just a lot of people coming after Jey Uso. It felt like the world title was kind of like showcased a little more than it was with Gunther, unfortunately. Like Logan Paul as well was coming after that, like World Heavyweight Championship. Like Jey Uso, he had a lot going on. He had Logan, he had Seth, he had Gunther. There was a lot going on for Jey Uso, but it made like the World Championship feel special. It made it feel exciting. So I really did like that. And obviously he successfully defended that title against Logan Paul. That was his one successful title defense. We know that we would see Jey versus Gunther again, part 1 million. I think this was the Raw after Money in the Bank. And I'm going to say, like, obviously, I didn't want to see this match again, but this was probably their best match, maybe that they've had. Like, their matches have not been great, but I just thought that it was very unpredictable. Like, I didn't know who was going to win. I thought, Jey could win because, it's still early in this title reign. Gunther could win the title back, maybe. I really actually didn't see that happening. I thought the most likely thing was Seth Rollins cashing in the day after Money in the Bank, or 2 days after, I should say. That's what I thought was going to happen. But Gunther, winning that match like that was super unpredictable. But for Jey Uso and his title reign, like 51 days, it's a small sample size compared to like Gunther's 258 and Damien's 118, Seth's 316. It's an interesting one to grade because I don't want to give it like a great grade because he really didn't defend the title that much, but he only had 51 days to do so. I gave Gunther a C minus, so I feel like I'm gonna give Jey Uso. I'm gonna give him a C on this one. I feel like, or you know what, C plus, a C plus for Jey Uso. I know 51 days compared to 258, it's a lot different. Obviously, Gunther defended it a lot more, but I just feel like they showcased the world title a lot more and made it feel more important when Jey was holding it rather than when Gunther was. So I'll give Jey a C plus on his World Heavyweight Championship reign. Now let's get into Gunther's second World Heavyweight Championship reign. I had high hopes, I'm not going to lie. I thought that WWE was going to try to undo the bad that they did with his first title reign. I thought they were going to give him better opponents like AJ Styles, like Penta, like LA Knight, like CM Punk. I thought we were going to get a great Gunther like apology title reign, and I was super excited for it. Obviously, that was not the case. He ended up only holding this title for 53 days. Very short reign when ended up losing at SummerSlam. But during his reign, we would see Goldberg return for his retirement match, which the World Heavyweight Championship was on the line. I'll be honest, I really didn't care for this storyline at all. I just knew Goldberg had no chance of winning. So it was very predictable, obviously. And then just like the story itself, I just felt like, like there was just better things going on. Like I just was not interested in the storyline at all. I was just like ready to get past it because it felt like non-canon. Like I felt like they could have like just done that at some other point without the world title on the line. Like I want the world title showcased in big time matches where like you don't know who's gonna win, right? And like that was just one where you knew Gunther was gonna win no matter what. So it just felt like for like that period of time, like that month, like the world championship was like irrelevant. Like just like go look at the other titles, like the WWE championship and stuff like that. Like focus on that because the world heavyweight championship, it obviously isn't leaving Gunther's waist until after he feuds with Goldberg. And that obviously was the case. He beat Goldberg at Saturday night's main event, and then when his title reign picked up and got interesting, we obviously saw CM Punk versus Gunther. CM Punk obviously won that gauntlet match to earn himself a one-on-one against Gunther for the World Championship at SummerSlam. And I thought the feud was not bad. I thought the feud was a pretty solid one. It was basically just like who's the best in the world. It wasn't any personal stuff, which we've seen a lot with CM Punk feuds, and a little bit of Gunther's feuds as well. I feel like him and Jay got a little personal. But this was more just about wrestling. This was more about, like I said, who's the best in the world. So I did enjoy the feud. I think a lot of people would disagree with me on that, but I thought it was fine. I thought it did its job. And then obviously the match at SummerSlam was super entertaining, super good. And then obviously we know Gunther would end up losing. So, I was a little thrown off. I wanted CM Punk to win, don't get me wrong. I definitely wanted to see CM Punk win the match. But this just made me realize, like, they literally only had Gunther win back that title just so he could lose it to Punk at SummerSlam. Like, I don't know how to feel about that. But 53 days as champion, 2 title defenses, Goldberg and CM Punk. Yeah, this one's bad. I'll give his second reign a C-. I think that's fair. We did give Jey Uso a C+ on his. It was obviously 51 and 53 days, same time period. I just felt like when Jey held it, it felt more chaotic, like with more people coming after the belt. With this one, it was like a non-canon, match and storyline with Goldberg, and then obviously CM Punk, like I said, like that would that saved the title reign. That makes it a C+. Without CM Punk, that probably would have been an F, if I'm being honest. But I did enjoy that title reign, and I thought that match was unpredictable. Like I didn't know who was going to come out on top in that match. So I think a C- is fair for Gunther. It sucks that both of his title reigns just weren't good. Obviously, he's taking time off now. Hopefully, when he comes back, he can regroup, have some storylines and matches without the title, and then eventually, when he gets his hands back on the title, hopefully he can have a better reign. Right, third time is the charm. Well, obviously, we know that Gunther lost that title at SummerSlam to CM Punk. CM Punk winning his first world championship since returning to WWE and his first world championship in over 12 years. So this was a great moment. I thought it was awesome to see CM Punk finally win a world championship. Being there at MetLife Stadium when it happened, I was super pumped. I was ready for a CM Punk title reign, man. I was ready to see him replicate what he did back in the summer of Punk 2011 with his 434-day title reign as WWE Champion. But obviously, we know that got cut short. CM Punk, his title reign lasted a total of 5 minutes and 10 seconds. So, similarly to Drew McIntyre, which is pretty funny considering all their history, this also has to go in an F. Like, this has to be an F. I don't want to put it in an F at all, but you hold the title for 5 minutes, it's got to be an F. This sucks to do, but man, it's an F. And obviously, we know why CM Punk held that title for 5 minutes and 10 seconds. It's because Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank contract. Pulling off the ruse of the century, obviously Seth Rollins faked that injury back at Saturday night's main event versus LA Knight and would go on to cash in on CM Punk after that main event, which obviously was a crazy moment to like experience like live. That was crazy. I had the thought in the back of my head, but I really did think he was injured, man. I really didn't think that they would fake something like this. They haven't done that in like a long time. So to see him throw those crutches and cash in, like that was crazy to see. But obviously he's only held the title for 15 days going forward now. So obviously it's hard to grade something that's only been 15 days. But I'll say the title reign has kicked off with a lot of steam. We saw a title defense versus LA Knight on Monday Night Raw, which I think made sense because LA Knight was the last guy to pin Seth Rollins. So I think he definitely earned that shot. And then obviously we saw CM Punk and that match in a DQ. And then obviously, we got Jey Uso in the mix. So now we know we're getting a fatal 4-way at Clash in Paris between Punk, Uso, Rollins, and LA Knight, which I'm super excited for. I definitely obviously think Seth Rollins will retain in that match. But we haven't seen a fatal 4-way for the World Championship since, I think, Royal Rumble 2024, if I'm not mistaken, with Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, LA Knight, AJ Styles. So yeah, I'm excited to see this match. And like I said, Seth Rollins, now that Seth is world champion, the title is going to get showcased. It would have been showcased at Punk, obviously held the title, but with Gunther, it just was never showcased as much. Gunther World Heavyweight Championship reign, it was never main event status, right? Obviously when you're working with CM Punk and Randy Orton, those were his two main events as world champion. But when he was feuding with guys like Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, they never main evented. Because Gunther, he just doesn't have the star-studded power that Seth Rollins possesses. Seth Rollins holding that world title, it just feels right. I hope he has a solid title reign, just like his first one. That was 316 days. I don't think this one will be as long as that, but I hope it's just as good or even better because we need this World Heavyweight Championship to feel more prestige. So it's hard to grade, like I said, on 15 days. But I think it's gonna end up being a great title reign. I don't want to over project it, but I think as of right now, I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a B. I feel like a B is fair because it's only 15 days, but it's already kicked off with a lot of magic, and I can already tell we're gonna dive into singles matches with LA Knight, CM Punk eventually, and other guys. I can already tell his title reign, it's about to be hectic as hell. It's about to be fun as hell. Roman Reigns is obviously looming as well. I wonder if we'll get that match for the title. So I'm super excited for it, and I'm going to give this one a B, even though it's only been for 15 days. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up down below. Don't forget to comment down below what future videos you guys would like to see from me. Also guys, comment down below who you think had the best World Heavyweight Championship reign. Alright guys, peace.